think we're going to move on to our AMA with Greg. So Greg, do you want to get us started and tell us about your history with REV, your history with FIRST, kind of your story and how you got started?
Okay, well, I'm going to keep it. This is going to be the abbreviated history. I was a student on an FRC team, call it 17 years ago. That's so a long time ago, probably longer than some of you guys are alive. That's a thing. I basically have stayed involved in FIRST for the whole time. So I went to RIT, mentored teams, helped start a few teams in the Rochester, New York area, worked with that community. I've kind of jumped around where I've lived, and everywhere I've lived, I've been involved in teams or started teams. And along the way, I've kept being a volunteer, and I've done a lot of different things. I've traveled, I've seen FIRST events in like 5 different countries or 6 different countries, pretty much anything that you could do. So REV as a whole is kind of a result of, we started REV 4 years ago, and we did it because we're all about trying to increase access to FIRST and STEM in general. And access is a couple different things. It's the cost of the product. Can you get it easily and accessible? And so everything we do is all about that, whether it's driving price down, trying to make it easier for different regions of the world to gain, to get the supplies they need, to providing materials so that it's easier for teachers to get involved, all these different things. So that is kind of REV's purpose. And so everything we do is all about making sure that people who want to get involved in this stuff can get involved in this stuff, trying to remove those barriers.
Awesome. Ethan, do you want to go to our next giveaway?
Yeah. So our second giveaway is about to start, and that is the Spark Mini motor controller. So make sure you do follow that and type the following into the chat. That's Spark Mini, all one word, SPARKMINI. And don't forget, if you choose to help support this system with a subscription, you get 5 times chance to win. We'll draw in just a few minutes, and good luck, everyone.
So our next question for Greg is, what is your favorite REV product?
What is my favorite REV product? It's kind of like choosing a favorite child. I don't have any children, so that's a hard thing. I like extrusion generally. I mean, it was one of the first things that we kind of decided to do. We did the 1-inch extrusion for FRC and the 15 millimeter for FTC. Literally, it was like one of the first things we ever did. And in terms of investment, that was one of like the first products that we actually had to like build the tooling, make investment to buy a bunch and put it out there. Up to that point, everything was a pretty reasonable risk. That was the one that was a thing. And also the one that made REV actually a thing, right? I mean, everybody hates on the 2015 game, but it's like if the FRC game in 2015, but if it weren't for Recycle Rush and elevators and extrusion being really a popular solution, I'm not sure we would have had the momentum to keep going. So I'll say that's my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
kind of building on that, what's the product you struggled the most with in designing, getting supply for, or getting approved by FIRST?
Oh man, that's like 4 or 5 different levels of things there. So supply chain is always a thing for us. We spend a lot of time trying to pick components and pick. We consider ourselves experts in design for manufacturing. So whether that's the type of process or the procedure that we use to build a product, picking the right components, trying to make things easy to build, they all have different degrees of difficulty, right? I can tell you that doing a new metal bracket is a very easy process for us right this second. Bringing a new piece of electronics online is always going to have an interesting challenge. Some of them, like the Spark Mini, are a little bit easier because they are derivative off of other products. Obviously, ones like the expansion hub take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and have their own challenges. I mean, when you think about the expansion hub, it's like any piece of electronics, that's got hundreds of components in it. And if just one goes missing or out of stock or whatever, you can't produce a single one. So, which the FTC community knows very well from last year. But
I guess I really want to know what product had the most trouble getting approved by FIRST for FTC or FRC.
It's really hard to comment on that like directly. I know this is going to sound like I'm dancing off this question. I don't really look at it as like a challenge to get something approved. Some things take a lot of time. So like we proposed the Blinken before last season even started, right? Like at least a year ago. The time of flight sensor is the same thing. Some of the things just take time, and some of the things don't get approved, which is okay because we're the technology provider, they're the program, and so when there are ones that we are disappointed because we didn't get them or things like that, but ultimately FIRST makes program decisions, not us. And so if they don't feel like something's right, either from a timing perspective or whatever, we kind of live with that. So FIRST approval, it's sometimes a little bit frustrating when you have like a baby and you're like, hey, Peter, please take my baby, and they don't. But like, FIRST is a pretty big organization, and changes in general they have a very wide sweeping impact on the community. So there's a lot of caution before big changes. And so we understand that. So, I mean, the Blinken took a year, the Spark Mini took a year, the LiDAR took a year. It took a year before we got a battery approved, a year before we got a motor approved. Like, I mean, it generally takes at least a year before it gets adopted into the community. But we don't hold that like against FIRST or anything. That's just part of them making really decisions for the betterment of the whole program.
Yeah. Okay. I think we want to do our giveaway now. So, Tyler, do we want to roll for our winner?
Sure, we can go ahead and do that, and let's see who the winner's going to be. You got about a couple more seconds. You want to type in the LiDAR for it.
Spark Mini.
Spark Mini.
Yeah, well, long 3 days in a row stream. Sorry. Yeah, Spark Mini for it. I'm still stuck on the LiDAR, not being LiDAR, but being LiDAR sort of thing.
It is really mini.
Yes.
It is small, by the way. Like, that's a thing.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that.
What's the weight on that, Greg?
It's very light. I don't know exactly what the weight is, but just for reference, like this is a Blinken, and that's the Spark Mini.
Do you have a normal Spark next to you?
I do have a normal Spark if you want to see it. Like this is embarrassing a little bit.
Oh wow.
So this is we had no other name but Mini. Like that's
yeah.
I mean, our bots aren't as big as FRC bots, so good to make things small.
Yeah. I saw a question in the chat asking about if it's going to be allowed for FRC. We haven't even talked to FRC about this one yet. It would functionally work, but I don't know what its place in FRC is.
Sorry to interrupt you, but Rocket Man is Dope has won the giveaway.
Well,
for the Spark
unfortunately,
Mini,
they haven't because they chose not to follow, so we're going to re-roll actually.
We're going to re-roll.
So, sorry about that.
That's a lesson learned, Rocket Man Dope. You have to follow.
So we are actually going to re-roll for the winner, and that is going to be Gymnast 544.
That is our gym. I feel like we should re-roll.
Wow.
Rigged.
Lots of rigged emails in chat. We are going to roll.
Like
we actually do not allow our hosts to win in stream. So we will roll one more time for that. And let's try this one. There we go. FTC 328 FRC 568 has won the giveaway officially. So,
well, if you guys want to test the Spark Mini with your FRC team, you can do that.
Yeah. Took us a little bit to get there, guys, but congratulations. Following since July 11th, and actually, I think a subscriber as of today as well. So paying off some dividends, and congratulations.
All right, let's jump right back in. So another question that I've had is, can you just give us a little more history about the Expansion Hub, how it came into existence? What was the process with that? I know that recently FTC has been kind of constantly changing what our systems for controls are. So can you give us a little background?
Yeah. it's a long story, like many, but basically around 3.5 or almost 4 years ago now. No, it's less than that. Maybe 3.5 years ago. We started to look at FTC and control system. This was probably just before the modern robotic stuff was publicly announced. We put together a kind of a what would we do if we were doing the control system. That deck did not look almost anything like the expansion hub finally ended out. But and you know, one of the things about being involved in FIRST for a long time, and one of the amazing things about the organization is that you can get access to people. You know, you could set up phone calls and meet with almost anybody in the organization. And so I did that. I gave presentations. They hinted that they already had a solution that they were happy with, so I was a little bummed out. Around the same time, there was a lot of planning going on, early planning for the thing that became FIRST Global. And so the folks who were responsible for FIRST Global and bringing that off the ground knew what we were trying to do and were open to us doing it for that. So we kind of went into a development mode with a number of different partners. There are a number of people who had hands in a little bit of it. I mean, and so over the next, basically it took about a year to stand up the first one to be anything great. And then from there, we kind of iterated on it for another 6 or 7 months before the FIRST Global. And then along the way, we kind of told FTC what we were doing, and they kind of made a decision to adopt it after the modern robotics stuff had been around for a couple of years. So the development was really, but what I will say is that it was a very close development with a lot of people who have known and been involved in FIRST for a very long time. And so if it feels very custom tailored for FTC, that's because it was. One of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on is the fact that we have been on teams, we actively mentor teams, and we kind of know the types of things that teams are going to put any piece of hardware through, and we build towards that spec.
Nice. Okay. Can you answer anything about the control hub? Do you know if it's going to ever be legal? Well, you would know that, but can you answer if it will ever be legal?
I mean, sure, I can answer about Control Hub. I mean, it's obviously not legal this year. There's actually a specific rule saying that it is not legal this year, which I thought it's funny that we've reached a point where there are rules for things that you can't do as well, but whatever. Look, everybody likes the idea of a Control Hub, an all-in-one controller. It runs the same software as the phones. There are a number of different challenges with a controller that doesn't have a screen on it. There's different software stacks, it's different hardware. So there is a lot of testing going on with it. And the big thing is just FIRST understands, and we understand that control system changes happen far too frequently in FTC. And so if we were to do another iteration of the existing control system where it's an upgrade to a control hub, we want to make sure that the timing is right, the supply chain is order, the cost is in order, it's super well tested, and like all of this stuff. So we kind of feel like it's more responsible to take it slow than to rush something out the door that's maybe not completely ready. We are doing it for the second year in FIRST Global, and so that's been a really great real-time beta test. So we appreciate global teams just like yours, Arjun. And there are betas that run at FTC teams. The hope is that it will happen. I can't tell you exactly when, but I can, as soon as I know something and as soon as FTC knows something, it's in everybody's best interest to keep the community up to date with the development.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Do you want to do some rapid fire kind of yes and no's?
Sure.
So
let's do it.
Is REV planning to offer any COTS cameras?
No.
Okay. Would a team be able to use one expansion hub and 8 motors and 12 servos?
You could use 6 servos and 8 motors.
6 servos.
So if you used if you used one expansion hub with 4 Spark Minis to get to 8 motors, you will only have 2 available servo ports. So that's the trade-off with the Spark Mini.
But you can use the servo modules, right?
Yes, but you'd have to go behind a USB hub. But yes, you could do that.
Are there going to be stock issues for the Rev hubs? Well,
No.
I mean, no. Okay.
No.
Awesome. Are you guys making pulleys anytime, like for belts for drivetrains and stuff?
We have pulleys on our roadmap. I don't know if they're going to make it before kickoff. We're pretty sensitive to trying not to launch stuff mid-year, so we'll see if they happen or not. But we have them. Just it may not happen this year.
Do the mini Sparks have encoders or telemetry?
They do not have encoders. So this is another one of those trade-offs where it's the motor controller for your intake or your arm where you're using a different piece of a different thing for your closed loop control or just running motors in open loop. But no.
When can I get a TOF sensor?
Time of flight sensors should be in the next few weeks.
Oh, sorry. That was from Austin Shallett. Another rapid fire question is, when will teams be able to buy REV HD hex motors without gearboxes? I know you've mentioned that a bunch of times.
Yeah, those are coming. Those are en route to us. So that will definitely happen before the season.
Okay, awesome. Arjun, Ethan, do you guys want to answer some or ask some of the questions? I know I keep talking.
Yeah. Do you have any tips you would like to leave the FTC community with?
Actually, let's do that. Let's do that one last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, Arjun, how about some of the small text ones? What is the frequency for the new 2M distance sensor? How many times per second can we get a measurement from? I searched the P. I can't even pronounce your username.
I have to defer this question. I don't know this information off the top of my head.
Okay.
Does the USB saver come with a cable?
Yes.
From
And
Nateless.
that's from And from 12897 Nateless, have you heard anything about the steel gear upgrade for the REV servos?
Steel gear upgrades are something we're working on. It kind of fell down our priority list just a little bit, but it is something we're still working on. So it is on our list. I can't say that that's going to make it before season, though.
From FTC 3208 and FRC 568, why don't you sell bearings for your 5mm hex axles, and do you have plans to in the future?
We do have bearings for our 5mm hex axles.
Yeah, I was pretty sure you did.
We have a thing called a bearing insert, and basically it's a very standard 8mm bearing, 12mm OD, 8mm ID, and we have a small plastic insert that converts a round bearing to a hex. It's actually by far the cheapest way to do hex bearings out there, because making a tiny hex bearing doesn't exist in the world. So this was an alternative.
Okay. From Sir Surreal, what about 5mm hex bore bevel gears?
Those, again, that's one of the ones that's on our list. I don't think that's going to happen this year, but it is on our list for future.
From crabbing_B, when are you guys going to look into quarter scale servos?
We have a quarter scale servo that we built about a year ago, and we were really close to launching it, but we were not happy with the ultimate performance of it. We didn't think there was enough delta between where we were trying to get and what our existing servo was, and so we kind of tapped the brakes on that one, and we may revisit that. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. We do a lot of product development. We do a lot of products. There's probably 2x or 3x what you see on our website of stuff we've designed and could decide to go any moment. We're a small business. We have to balance the tooling cost, the upfront capital, the inventory, and what teams need to really take things through. So if there is stuff that you want, like, oh my gosh, I can't live without bevel gears, like, you totally can send us emails, and the more emails, responses that we hear about this stuff, the higher on our priority list it'll go. It's just, we can't do everything all at once.
Yeah. I guess with that, are you guys looking into ever creating a beefier servo than the smart servos?
So that's the quarter scale would do that. The smart servos with the steel gear swaps, that would do some of that too. We always look for improvements. We think that last year might have been a little bit of a fluke year on the way that teams were utilizing servos. But we'll see what happens. I mean, we always try to improve for new products and our existing products. So yes, like
yeah. I won't say this on the show. Greg, can you scroll up to what I've highlighted in the doc? Can you say anything about that or no?
Can we've highlighted in the doc? Yeah, I can't talk about that one. Sorry.
Okay.
That's all good.
So Arjun,
yeah,
do you
so
want to
we're
move
gonna
on to
take
the
a
giveaway?
yeah, we're gonna take a short break to start our final giveaway, and this is a Blinken LED driver, which is legal for both FTC and FRC. And if you want to win one, hit that follow button and then type in REV into the chat. So that's REV. And don't forget, if you subscribe, you'll have a 5x chance to win, and we'll draw in a few minutes.
All right, let's keep going with these questions. From
Pieram, what is the addition of UVC cameras, do you think? What does that mean for the game?
I don't know. It's kind of that one caught me a little off guard. I think it's cool that people can use custom cameras. It might mean that there's something more you can do with vision this year, that you might need a higher resolution camera than what you could get through the cell phone. It also might mean that like last year's game, if you were starting on the left side of the field or the right side of the field, you needed to move your phone if you were using the camera for the jewel detection. So maybe it's just you can pick which camera you're using based on where you're on the field. I'm not really sure. It kind of opens some interesting doors, although I've never seen external webcams talking to cell phones before. So that's going to be an interesting surprise to see how that works.
Yeah.
We have another slew of questions. Do you build your own custom servos, or do you outsource the technical bits to a servo manufacturing company? So
we work with supply chain. We work with different manufacturers who specialize in lots of different things, whether it's a molded part or an injection molded part, an extrusion part, a stamping part. I mean, REV is not a manufacturer. We are a design house. We do the electronics, the programming. Like almost every product that you see on our shelves is custom to us, and so it's just, we don't manufacture them, but there's a lot of stuff that's ours in them.
Yeah.
So from the Cool Kid 1230, are there any other products coming out for this FTC season?
Yes. There's probably about 20 additional products that we haven't announced yet.
Ooh.
And with that, when those 20 products come out, and I'm assuming Andy Mark's going to come out with new products, I'm guessing Pitchco or Tetrix or Servo City will. I think actually Servo City came out with some new products for the X Rails. We'll probably do a show dedicated to some of those around kickoff time. Maybe Greg will come back. Maybe some members from Andy Mark or from the other companies will come on to talk about their own products. But I know that I'm excited to see what Rev comes out with, what everyone comes out with.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of stuff. We tend to play a little bit safe when it comes to announcing new stuff to make sure that it's actually like in production, in the works, coming to us. We know when stuff's going to be delivered rather than just like teasing stuff that's phantom. So we'll make an announcement sometime in early August on most of the rest of those products. But basically, if it's on that list, it'll be available before kickoff. So
Okay.
That is awesome. So-
Someone, sorry, Ethan, then I'll let you finish off the questions. One last thing I noticed in the chat is someone mentioned that I think it was Servo City that came out with a mount for the core hex motor.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
That's cool.
Is that proprietary at all? Though, is that whole pattern? I don't really know if you can like patent a whole pattern. Like, do you guys have any issues with that?
I mean, you absolutely can patent a whole pattern. Servo City would know very much about that. But it's fine. We build our mechanical system to we want to play as widely with everybody's stuff. We want electrically, mechanically. Look, if you go to any robot at the World Championship, there's almost nobody made out of a single building material. So the more compatible you are, the better it is, because it's just better for everybody to you want to pick up a wheel, you really want to use this wheel, oh darn, it doesn't work with this other system. That's really frustrating. So it's totally fine. I think it's great. We really love the hex shaft, and so we think that hex is better than round with a flat. And so if that is a thing that helps teams struggle less with set screws, that's fine.
Absolutely. So let me see. From David Recharge asks, is there a possibility of having planetary gearbox for the core HD hex motors?
Core HD hex motor doesn't exist. The HD hex motors are core hex motors. It's fine. That's an internal confusion also. Planetary transmissions are something we can definitely do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Ian13752 asks, what does REV stand for?
REV stands for nothing. No, I'm just no. The actual REV itself is not an acronym for anything. It's a prefix. It kind of represents things that we like. Revolution, reveal, revolve. It's just kind of one of those fun things. And when you're naming a company, a million things go through your head, and this one just kind of stuck, and we could own the domain and trademark. So that's a thing too.
At least you guys didn't smash your two co-founders' names together.
Well, we didn't.
That was mean.
That was kind of a low blow, but it was not likely to call this Greg David or David Greg.
This is not Ethan Nathan live.
Look, guys, it's not about a name. When you're starting a company, the name actually is one of the most irrelevant things. Nike because of the products they make. Nike by itself means nothing, right? And so it's like any one of these companies. I mean, we could have named it anything, and it's all about what you do within your company and not what your company is called. And Google, what was Google before Google was around? It was all these. So Twitter, same thing. So we didn't sweat it too hard. We knew what the mission that we were actually on, and we liked something short and catchy, and that's kind of how we landed on it.
Okay.
Awesome. Perfect. So we're going to do one final question before we go into our last question. Dansman805 asks, do you think that the UVC cameras are a preliminary step for using the control hub in FTC and to continuing to use vision?
So, you can definitely use vision on the control hub by using a webcam. It bears in mind that is part of the same software stack that's being used this year that makes that happen on the control hub. I don't think that they are directly connected, but I think that vision, look, robotics and technology, we should keep pushing what teams are using and what people have access to. And if you go look at any modern robot anywhere, any sort of technology, autonomous vehicle, everybody is driven by vision. So computer vision is not going away, and to not give teams and students the wide accessible version of that is not a thing. So I think it's great. I think computer vision is great. I wish I knew how to implement it personally better, but I'm glad that it is accessible for teams in FTC and FRC too, for that matter.
Absolutely. And then with that, do you have any final tips you'd like to leave the FTC community with?
I just have fun. I mean, I think that, first is amazing. It's you can push yourself in a lot of technical ways, but it's also really fun. And so have fun, build robots, it's first is awesome. Stick with it. When you graduate high school, get involved in your college alumni groups. When you graduate college, go to work for companies. Stay involved. First is something you can stay involved with for your entire lifespan. So you should do so.
All right.
Awesome. And then with that, we'll do the drawing for our Blinken LED controller. So Tyler, do you want to tell us who won?
Yep, let's go ahead and do that drawing. And the winner is going to be the Overlord 6190, following since December 30th of this past year, and a subscriber as well, too. So a lot of subscribers winning today, getting that 5x luck to win. Congratulations, Overlord. Make sure you shoot me a message on Twitch or Discord, and you're going to get, once again, that Blinken LED driver that we get. So congratulations on that. And Greg, big thanks once again for the awesome giveaways from Rev Robotics. I think the fans really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. We love to do it.
So, Greg,
every show, he said. That's what I heard.
All right, Greg, thank you very much for taking your time to talk about the game manual with us, talk about what's new with Rev, and give us kind of your history. So for everyone watching, don't forget to check out Rev on Facebook, Twitter. I guess you guys don't really tweet, though. And check out their website, revrobotics.com.
Yeah. We do have a Twitter account. We will respond to tweets. We don't tweet that much ourselves, but hey, look, here's the thing. If you want to talk to us, you want to prioritize your products, like what stuff you want to see us make, reach out. I'm on Discord. Other people are on Discord, Reddit. We're around and easy to get to. So,
Ethan, take us home.
Okay, so thank you for all the follows and subscriptions you received today. Don't forget that you can subscribe for free if you or your parents have Amazon Prime. And thank you for helping us keep FTC Live real. If you want to stay connected with what FTC Live is doing, follow us on Twitter at LiveFTC. It's backwards because somebody stole it. Facebook at facebook.com/FTC Live. And join our Discord through the link in the chat. Tyler, can you read off who has pledged their support on the stream?
Yeah, thanks for me and Ethan. Awesome support today, everybody. This is what keeps us making shows, so thank you very much. The Small Hero 6, Rebel Greg for even a subscription as well. That's Greg right there. Thanks, Greg. Kashika Kada for a Prime subscription, G-Quick 1 Prime subscription, Kelk Stream with their Tier 1 subscription, Vivek09 with a Prime subscription, AwesomeBot999 Prime, User Daniel with their Prime, Youthrobox TV with their Tier 1, thanks a lot, Kazar4 with their Prime, Sam the Dog with their Prime subscription, and WTOS1631 for the Prime subscription. So thank you, everybody, for your subscription. It's the first updates now. Appreciate it very much. And RoboGreg coming in as well with 101 bits for his favorite.
105, actually.
I saw 100, before, but you're leading into, that's clearly his favorite FRC team. Go look it up in their great history that they have with Striker 101.
Okay, and behalf on myself, Ethan, Nathan, and our producer Tyler working behind the scenes, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Greg for being a guest on this show, and we'll be back next month with another episode of FTC Live. If you're watching live, stick around for a couple more minutes for our FTC trivia, and our producer Tyler will be posting what you need to get in the game. Be back in a few. Thanks.
All right, wait, before we go, I was going to say one last thing. Next week, the Chicago Robotics Invitational, which my team's hosting, we are going to be hosting that on this channel, or streaming that on this channel. So that is next Saturday, July 21st. Stream will probably start around 9:30. And if you join the FTC Live Discord or check out my team, 3507 Robotheosis's Twitter accounts, I will be sending out specific times where Ethan and I will be going live from our broadcast booth with some guests and competing teams to do live interviews and match analysis during the day. So tune in to watch some awesome robotics. That's the Chicago Robotics Invitational, fwparker.org/robotics if you guys want to check out more. So thank you. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Have a nice night.